And welcome. Let's take a look at the top story that we're tracking for you this hour. It's the second day of ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, and both sides claimed victory on Friday after the truce ended 11 days of conflict. Our focus turns to assessing the damage that has been caused and rebuilding something that humanitarian officials warned will take years in Gaza. Palestinian officials put reconstruction costs at tens of millions of dollars, while economists said that the fighting could curb Israel's economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Top United Nations aid official Lynn Hastings has urged both Israel and Palestine to observe the ceasefire while aid teams assess and repair the damage. Hastings said that NGOs from both sides need to come together and prioritize the needs of the people. Listen in.
The way the system works, the humanitarian community works, is that the UN agencies and the NGOs, both Palestinian and international NGOs, will come together and will prioritize what the needs are. There are many needs, obviously, in a situation like this. Everything from shelter, healthcare, especially during COVID. We're going to go and see the center that was damaged, the laboratory that was damaged for COVID as well. Food needs, it's really across the board here. And of course, again, in a time when the health system was struggling under the impact and weight of COVID.
Convoys of lorries carrying aid began passing into Gaza through the Kerem Shalom crossing after it was reopened by Israel. Medicine, food, and fuel were brought in. The United Nations Central Emergency Response Fund has released $18.5 million for humanitarian efforts. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi had also pledged $500 million to help reconstruction efforts in Gaza. Meanwhile, U.S. President Joe Biden once again reiterated that there had been no shift in his commitment to Israel's security, but insisted that a two-state solution that includes a state for Palestinians was the only answer to the conflict.
There is no shift in my commitment to the security of Israel, period. No shift, not at all. But I tell you what there is a shift in. The shift is that we still need a two-state solution. It is the only answer, And what I'm convinced of is that we can now move, as I did even before I was able to negotiate, before the ceasefire was negotiated, that I made it clear that I spoke with President Abbas. We're going to make sure that we are going to provide for security in the West Bank, and we renewed the security commitment, as well as economic commitment to the people on the West Bank. I also indicated to the Israelis that I thought it was very important that they stop in Jerusalem this intercommunal fighting that is by extremes on both sides. It has to end.
Meanwhile, the owner of a Gaza building that housed international media and was destroyed in an Israeli airstrike is staked a larger complaint with the International Criminal Court. Now, the complaint by Jawad Mehdi says that the attack on the 15th of May, which flattened Jala Tower, housing the offices of U.S. news agency Associated Press and Al Jazeera Television, was a war crime. His lawyer told the media that Israel could show no military objective for the attack. His lawyer also added that international law states that one can only harm civilian property if it is used for military purposes, and that was not the case here. Now, satellite images released on Friday show the impact of some of Israel's airstrikes on Gaza. Images taken on the 12th of May and the 20th of May showed leveled buildings and plumes of smoke following the barrage of airstrikes. The death toll in Gaza is 248, including 66 children, with over 1,900 wounded. In Israel, 12 civilians have been killed, including 2 children and a soldier. Now, for more on this, we are being joined by Aman Spee, who is an activist and a communist leader. Thanks for being with us on this broadcast. Now, my first question to you is, with U.S. President Joe Biden, who has asserted that a two-state solution is the only answer for peace between Israel and Palestine, what is your take on this two-state solution?
We have witnessed land confiscation and people being deprived from their rights to water and natural resources in these territories over the last 25 years. So Israel actually is destroying every possibility for a viable state in the West Bank, in Gaza and East Jerusalem, by imposing realities that are very difficult to reverse, thus destroying the two-state solution. If President Biden is serious about this, he needs to tell Israel to stop its unilateral steps towards destroying the solution and sit down and talk about it seriously, so that within a short period of time there will be a viable state in Palestine.
Now, Egypt is also sending security delegation to Israel and Palestine to ensure the implementation of this truce. This also comes at a time when U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will be traveling to West Asia, where he also plans to meet with Israel and Palestinian leaders. What can we expect from these meetings?
Well, these efforts are as usual, will be confined to security arrangements. They will not be talking about a solution between the two sides. It's just how to arrange security between the two sides in Gaza and in Israel to ensure, at least for this period in time, there will be no other escalation.
And my last question to you, Ayman, is what is the future for the people of Gaza?
The future is one thing: a permanent solution to the Palestinian issue based on international legitimacy, based on justice. It will be this how we get to peace. This is it. This is a solution not only for Gaza. This is a solution for people in the West Bank, in East Jerusalem, and also for the Israelis, and for all the people in the area, in the region. And as a consequence, as you have seen in the last 13 days or 14 days, there is basically no international peace without resolving the Palestinian issue. This is going to be lingering around all the time. It's going to cause instability forever if the Palestinian issue is not justly resolved.
Right. Thank you very much for being with us and for your thoughts and analysis there.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.